Our first poem up is going to be The Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. And I don't know what it is about this poem that I feel it in my chest, but I do, definitely. Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the barogos, and the mome wraiths outbrave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the maxim foe he sought. So rested he by the Tumtum tree, and stood a while in thought. And, as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwocky? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Oh, fragis day, Callooh, Callay, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the barogos, and the mome wraiths of grave. Hello, Timothy. Hello, Aiden. Hello, John Murphy. John, I'm going to get to your poem after I read Songs from a Cold Kitchen. And this one is from Louise. She's her pub is Songs from a Cold Kitchen. If you don't subscribe, I would go check her out. Not traditionally a poem, but I just think Louise does great work. In 2005, hooked up with a rather sadistic but still passably cute guy from Liverpool, who sort of came on to me with some quite aggressive body language, then came to the lodge, got into a fight with another guy, and saw me in my pajamas. Double fail? But I told him his fly was open, which was true. Super well done. Oddly poetic, Louise. In 2025, it turns out I am pregnant for the 7th time. Almost 5 weeks. No one knows other than doctors and pharmacists and lab workers. I just can't talk about it. Not to my husband, even. Oof. Thank you, Louise. That was beautiful. I'm gonna go grab another one. Timothy, what is your piece about? Is it a poem? I mean, I can read it, but this is poetry, and I poorly prepared for this because I still have my fan on. I'm gonna go turn that off. Enjoy this piano music while I do that. Great, Timothy. I will go check that out in a second. I'm going to bring up another poem for a famous poem, and I'm going to read that. Next up is Harlem by one of my favorite poets, Langston Hughes. Harlem by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat or crust in sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? The message there is don't defer your dreams till later, and they won't become bitterness. All right, Timothy, I'm gonna head over to your Sam. I'm gonna head over to your page and grab your thing. All right, Timmy, I got your poems. But first, I'm gonna read something from the chat. It's dropped.
Surrounding it scares straight. Oh, damn, it's just very awesome, right? Let's get it Friday. Who's wise? Who's but let's not quite the top of these rules as well. There's balls made extra cheeky. Set great on the chainsaw. Sauce touches you at the spinny horse. Anyway, traces.
This poem is called Old Boots, introduced by John Murphy. Old Boots is durable as Timbuktu, with scars on your skin and a chip in your tooth, looking like Russ. What kind of stories hide in the wrinkles of your leather? You tolerate the elements to preserve what you treasure. With a look like an old book smells as timeless as autumn weather. Weather, all weathered or all together. It's whatever, forever. Past and present. Wow, that format threw me off a little there, buddy. Old boots. Don't be jealous of these modern foes. Too much cushion creates what you oppose. Their toes are too soft for your rugged soul. You welcome the scrutiny. Your tongue speaks wisdom affluently. Below a steel toe stare, I hear you whisper to me intuitively. A long life is a good life, usually, but what's more? A long life or a long eulogy? Damn. I feel like that's like almost like a mashup of John Donne and T.S. Eliot there. Beautiful. An elegy with boots. All right, Timmy, here you go. Bruce is coming up. You guys don't subscribe to John or Timmy, and I would recommend it. Timothy, in particular, writes some very interesting stuff about trains. This is On the Heart, a sonnet by Timothy E. Lambert. I say the heart wants love, love as pure as the whitest dove. But of this love, what can we say? It is as bright as the morning sun. What do you do when you find that love? You thank the great and awesome God above for the chance to be near and see the one you want for eternity. But what comes when the trust is broken? The sweet innocence of love is stolen. The tears fall down like a torrential storm from your former lover's scorn. Do not let them in too deep, because deepest heartache he might sow. Timothy. Oof. Good one, buddy. I'm gonna go over here. I'll like that, and I'm gonna restack it without comment because I commented here. Great job, Timmy. You're welcome, John, and I'm gonna go back and restack yours as well. Welcome, Roger. And we've got, I did not know I would get so many submissions this morning, but I got a ton. Right now, we're going to read the lovely and talented Andrea. Andy Curran, for those of you who don't know.
This is farming, isn't that fantastic? I just say without hesitation, SpaceX has been advancing the research here of science exploration, especially the perspective of the returning human first aid back to Earth so you can reuse it. So reusability matters.
This poem is called Across the Meadow, a poem in transition by Andrea Andy Curran. Through this tangled forest I've traipsed, among the flowers and trees, only stopped once or twice to hear the buzzing of the bees. The reds and greens, the blues and whites, passed by my eyes and out of sight. The forest thorns reaching for me did not deter my careless speed. Now I cross this meadow towards my future hopes and dreams, looking back at weeping flowers I never truly stopped to see. I just split an infinitive. I sit and watch the flame-licked forest burn to embers, then to ash. Andy didn't split infinitive about it. Wishing I could turn back time. In fact, I thought, I can. Now I watch the fires as they burn the flowers to a crisp, wishing I had slowed down to smell their fragrance for a bit. Then I saw across the meadow where the forest was still green. My path, indeed, had not yet finished, and it has just begun. This forest is much larger, the path obscure by vines and trees, the tangled branches veiling me for what is soon to be. But this time I will not rush by. I take it nice and slow. I walk my path at a steady pace and stop to smell each rose. Beautiful, Andrea. Yeah. You can actually watch how lazy I am when I restack. I don't comment at all. I just restack it. Hi, Alexi. Oh, you went to Liberty University too. Alexi, I will read yours if you drop it in my sub chat. Who's up next? I guess Hina Gondal is up next. Let's see what she submitted. Actually, y'all can see my chat. It's no big deal. I'll just use this navigation bar.
Nice.
Try to get this to open in the same window. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Goody gumdrops. Alright. Scratch that. Up. Error. Hina, you did not give me the full link. Sorry. Nope, Hina, that does not go anywhere, so I'm going to skip your piece. I would check that link, though. The next one is from Jake Gardner. And he's got a pub. Here's to awkward silences.
Tonight it means you stand riding in the wind and then takes huge.
Bam. Alright, this one is called... What is it called, Jake? The Threshold, Auspicious, a Green Flash. Puerto Morelos. Puerto Morelos. Timmy, how do I say that? Winter cooled azure in salt-soaked trade wind rose. Green flash gold when the sun tears the clouds. Below sightlines and seagulls arcing spans. Impossible collisions made true and bold by aspirations. Labored loves, the sweat and breath of harbored age. We ring the world anew, slow, first, and stop. Look up and drink the moment. Be hungry, thirsty, weary, ache, need, want. We're here for blood, for electric vigor, for the privilege of our senses, for wayward sins and ordinary miracles, for love and trust and truth, for the times between the lines. Damn, Jake. Met Jake a while ago. His wife also writes on Substack. Like I said, Alexi, if you want me to read your poem, just drop it in the Substack, in my sub chat. Now we're gonna go to Allie Writes Her Life. I'm actually gonna mute for a second so I can open a soda. It certainly would help if I turned my microphone, right? I told you I was a hot mess. I gotta go back to the beginning. I am sitting at the altar of my life, knees pressed into the cold floor of everything I have survived, hands folded like a prayer or surrender. I can no longer tell the difference. Before me sit the judges, past, present, future, three faces carved from memory, truth, and possibility. The past looks at me with familiar eyes, the kind that know where every scar began. The present watches quietly, holding the weight of all I am trying to become, and all I still have not forgiven. The future says nothing. She only glows from somewhere beyond the dark, close enough to haunt me, too far away to hold. I plead my case for my own life, not because I am innocent. No, I have been reckless with my own heart. I have mistaken survival for living. I have called old wounds personality traits and worn pain like it was proof I could endure anything. I have stayed too long in versions of myself that were never meant to be permanent. I have made homes out of ruin, mistaken chaos for comfort, and called it normal because it was the only language I knew how to speak. But I stand here now, or kneel, or crawl because healing is rarely graceful. Still, I say it. I am not who I was. I say it once and the walls tremble. I am not who I was. I say it again until even the past has to look away. The girl I used to be stands behind me, barefoot in the wreckage, holding all the broken tools she used to build a life out of whatever scraps were left for her. I do not hate her anymore. I used to. I used to look back and see only the mess, the choices, the storms, the door I opened, the doors I should have locked, the fires I fed, because warmth and destruction sometimes feel the same when you are freezing. But now I see her more clearly. She was tired. She was scared. She was trying. She was building shelter with shaking hands in weather no one else could see. So I lower my voice inside the courtroom of my own becoming and I tell her, you did what you knew how to do. You got us here. Now let me take over. And maybe that is atonement. not punishment, not shame, not dragging my old self through the streets of memory until every mistake has been beaten clean. Maybe atonement is finally the truth. I was hurt, I was learning, I was unfinished. I am still unfinished. I am making peace with who I was, who I am, and who I have yet to become. Peace does not arrive like a dove with soft wings and good timing. Peace comes limping in after the war, covered in dirt, asking if there is coffee and somewhere to sit. And I let it in. I let it sit beside me in the ruins. I let it touch the old foundations without flinching, because I am a work in progress, not a failure, not a cautionary tale, not some abandoned house with the windows boarded and ghosts still arguing in the walls. I am construction after collapse. I am scaffolding around a soul that still believes it can rise. I am beams being placed where the ceiling once caved in. I am fresh paint over rooms that still remember smoke. I am learning that rebuilding does not erase what happened here. It only proves what happened here did not get the final say. At the crossroads, I meet myself again. The old me stands on one road, smiling with familiar teeth. She knows my weakness. She knows the songs that call me backward. She knows how tempting it is to return to what hurt me just because I understand the shape of that pain. She says, "Come back. You know this road. You know how to survive here." And for one terrible moment, I almost listened. Because the past does not always return as a monster. Sometimes it returns as relief. Sometimes it wears perfume and speaks softly. Sometimes it sounds like an old habit, an old reaction, an old way of disappearing before anyone can ask where I went. The undertow of life wraps itself around my ankles. It pulls, not violently at first, that would be too honest. No, it pulls gently, like memory, like temptation, like the lie that says growth is too hard and maybe drowning would be easier if I could just stop fighting. The water rises around my feet, around my knees, around the softest parts of me. I feel the darkness opening its mouth. I feel the past reaching up with wet hands. And I want to be clear, moving forward does not always feel brave. Sometimes it feels like dragging your own body out of the ocean while every wave is personally offended by your escape. Sometimes it feels like choosing yourself with a shaking voice. Sometimes it feels like not answering the door when the old version of you comes knocking with flowers and a knife behind your back. But then I see her, the future me, standing in the distance like a candle in a cathedral that has not yet burned down. She is not perfect, thank God. I do not trust perfect things. She is simply whole, or close to whole, or closer to whole than I have ever been. Her shoulders are softer, her breath is steadier, her hands are open. She's not begging to be loved, she's not shrinking to be accepted, she is not setting herself on fire to prove she can keep others warm. This is a very long poem. I'm not going to read this whole thing because I have a time constraint here. How long is this poem? Oh, it's quite lengthy. Yeah, I don't have time to read that whole poem. Apologies to Allie. Okay, this one is from Nesby Nicola Writes, and it's called Snapping Wings, and I think it's in the form of a concrete poem. To sit and watch butterfly wings open and close is to watch the creator wink. The creator's active force made this butterfly be still for this moment, just for you. Opening and closing. Its wings to say, "Look at my beauty. I am only reflecting the beauty of the one looking at me now. Since I did perform, do you think you can smile for me now? Very still, here I sit, waiting for you to take my pick." Wow. And I'm gonna restack it in real time. Restack. Okay. Alright.
For 3/4.
The next one says, hello, Mac and Mac's fans. I don't think I have fans, but that's from Louise. I read her poem at the beginning, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to read Stonewolf's piece. Check the length before I get into it. Yeah, it's fine. You can get through it. Not like it's a chore. I mean... Alright. I would, I would have finished that last poem if I had time to do it. This is called Dear Women from Stonewolf, and it carries a trigger warning. So, guys, trigger warning. Imagine hearing the news about the betrayed wives violated while sound asleep on the morning your body begins to bleed. The way grief sits in the womb like the ghost of a child a mother hoped to know. She gets suited up in orange of a life sentence. Sorry. Apologies, Stonewolf. I love that. She gets suited up in orange, a life sentence for losing a life her body couldn't hold. And the men, they walk free to commit their crimes over and over again. My rage has settled into something colder than Arctic winds. No more patience left to give. Imagine the ache of empty arms trapped behind bars, her firstborn still at home wondering where he belongs when his mother is gone. The stone in my stomach yearns to be thrown. I may not be without sin, but at least I've never raped anyone. Dear women, we are far from angry enough. Do you ever wonder why they keep us from learning how to fight? They take the scripture and turn it into prisons, words first written in a language by people whose descendants are going to bomb while living in tents. Everything I stand on is built from theft, empathy for my enemy. You must be kidding me. My scorn has grown into a star waiting to explode. Those distant symbols of hope we falsely imbue with a sense of calm. The violence too far away to properly convey. Dear women, we need to go supernova until the ash of every godforsaken thief lays new ground for us to plant something sweet. No more bitter fruit taken from dying trees. We're told to be thankful while choking on the rotten seed. Imagine what we can grow when we no longer fold to fit neatly into their pockets, believing this is for the best. Dear women, we were never meant to shrink. It is only through our strife that children learn to sing. We carry the way, the truth, the life. My light has become a beacon. Can you see it shining? Go look yourself in the eye and tell me what you find. When you're ready to stand with Athena's might, I'll be waiting, our sisters at my side. Dear women, it's time to choose oblivion or the sharp edge of a knife. Damn. Wow. That was impressive. Real time restack. Oh, I already restacked it. Yeah, I read this before. Okay. All right, that concludes the poems for today. From other writers, I think I'm gonna pop over to mine. This is jazz, dudes. I think I'm gonna pop over to mine and find one of my poems. I don't even know if anybody's here. It doesn't matter. This is, like I said, it's improvisational jazz. Why can't I see my clock? Good lord. Oh no. Alright, guys, I can't find my clock. This is a problem. Uh-oh. There it is. 11:39. Good lord. My computer's a mess.
It's all like go out in the video right after. Put your foot back on that now. You like, search all the northeast. He said.
So it is 11:39. And gonna read one of mine. Y'all can bail now if you want. You don't have to listen to my poem. Gotta enter my blood sugar first.
I mean, Siri doing something.
Let's see. What should I read? What should I read? What should I read? What should I read? No, I'm not gonna read that. Because I just posted the song version of that. Didn't post the lyrics. Oh, and of course my Substack just jumped to the beginning.
This Nicky man is low.
Stupid very day better than things. And you either bend so what else? Hilariously little things. You know, that's really you miss.
I really got to go pretty far down to find an actual poem from me. What have I been doing here? Okay, this is The Sentinel Nerve. It's a poem about PTSD. I'll bring it up on the screen. Zoom a little bit. I walk with thunder folded in my ear through the streets like though the of course I fuck up my own poem. I walk with thunder folded in my ear, though the streets lie still as pilgrims. A door speaks once, the world breaks open, not forward, not outward, but inward, where old fire keeps a dangerous spark. Every sound is an angel with a blade, every footstep carries unearned history. The clock snaps its flesh-tearing jaws, the kettle screams prophecies of doom. Reason, you small and careful spirit, you say, this is here, this is now. But the body does not worship you, the body remembers the battle. I am inhabited by alarms, acquired bells, rings within my towers. A winged thing crouches on my spine, counting the ingress and begress, naming threats where none stand. Do not call it fear. Fear flees eventually. This stays eternally. This is the sentinel nerve, carved awake, sworn never to sleep. It mistakes the sparrow for the hawk, the knock for incoming flames, the silence for approaching danger. Yet still, between the cracks of calamity, I live on. Between the muzzle flashes, I remain. If every sound is an uninterrupted fall, then let these words be a foothold. If the world keeps shouting fire, let my living be the proof that I walked through it and did not turn to ash. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me who was here. 7 people showed up. I appreciate you. I'm going to be doing this every Thursday. I possibly could turn into a daily thing. Yeah, like I said, it's improvisational jazz. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I will see you around Substack.
Jeremy found this. It's a shot and a good beat up. That ain't Egypt.